You can suck my dick.
All those remixes need to happen. All those filthy remixes.
Yeah, bro, because they're like, even if we like do like 30 second like jingles.
Like a little compilation.
Yeah.
It'd be like a theme song compilation.
Welcome. What's good? Shark in the house. We're just gonna have a conversation, man.
Yeah.
About just what we've been doing, what we've been going through in life this year, 2022, man. Been transformative, I would say.
Next level.
Yeah, man. What started off as like we're coming up on a year, like when we had that conversation of us just talking about elevating our music. You really just started there of like, man, let's get back to like rehearsing. Let's get back to just doing this more often. And it was just that intention, right? And then we didn't even have a show or nothing at that point. It was just like about getting together. And then from then on, that was like around August of last year. And then that's crazy, man, how God works, because that desire and that intention that I felt was really the spark that brought us here today.
The power of intention, man.
Yeah, man.
That will,
Yep. And I remember last year too, I feel like I was on a self-imposed, what would you call it?
Sabbatical of earthly carcinogens.
Yeah, for sure. But man, like, I was abstaining from a lot of things, man. A lot of, because even at the beginning of the year, like 2020 was a very impactful year for a lot of people, including me. And going into the new year, I felt like I wanted to challenge myself. Yeah. And I started to abstain from a lot of things. And through that process, though, like looking back, I'm like, yeah, I feel like I could have done better, but it is what it is. In the sense of like better of, I went like, I used a lot of guilt though. I think that's where I went too deep in it instead of just
embracing the journey and letting it be what it was.
Yeah. But when I think of it though, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Because I did gain a lot of insight to myself, man, and I feel like there was a lot of prep work that I feel was being done on myself, even spiritually, without even knowing it. Mm-hmm. We had this conversation all the time of like, just coming back. For me, man, it feels like it's been a coming back home of my spiritual life. And that's how I grew up, and I feel for the longest I started to slowly depart. And in my move to LA, actually, if I'm being honest, I feel like expedited that ride apart from God. In the sense of like, it was exciting in one sense to be encountered by a bunch of different people and cultures and beliefs, but then also too like the industry and the music industry and the entertainment industry, and then all these things that I what's that saying? I started to like drink the Kool-Aid.
Sip the Kool-Aid, man. You just start believing it all.
Yeah, man, and oh man, there's a reason why like certain things work, and it's not even a religious sense, man. It's just about how you live your life. But getting back to that topic, man, of last year, living that sort of sabbatical, and then coming to getting back together musically, and then too, man, I felt like I was frustrated, and you know that too. I was frustrated in the process of the album, having to start all over in some sense with drums, and certain things, waiting on certain people, and just that whole process. Yet at the same time, though, we talked about it, like making the commitment of doing it right, like the excellence of music.
Yeah, seeing the process through, like with the same intention as you started, like that same passion and desire as when we started,
Yeah, man. So we met coming up on 4 years ago.
Yep.
And what made you, or what inspired you to make the move out here? I think you already had people out here, right?
To be honest, there's people that I know, but like I wouldn't say were people I would call. I had the desire and wanted more,
Mm.
and I felt like being from Boston, which, it's a beautiful place, learned a lot, got a thick skin there and was able to really develop there. But it just got to a point where I just felt like I was in a loop with my life, what I was doing musically and just everything. I was like, I need more. And then at the time, a great friend, like my brother to this day, Al Cleveland, it's like, man, just come to LA, bro, make the jump, bro. Like, I didn't even have a place to stay. I didn't have a job figured out, and I just knew I wanted more.
Yeah.
So I crashed on his couch, him, Jeff, and Julian, man, just good friends looking out.
When did you actually make the move out here?
Yeah, it was 2018, man.
Was it like towards the beginning of the year?
Beginning of the year, the very beginning of the year, January. That January, man, I was just like, once I got the green light, it was like, cool. And then also Joe was out here. So I was like, yeah, man, like, might as well give it a run, like, see what's up. Like, those are really the only people I knew out here.
Yeah.
That I could say I would call and be like, yo, what's up? They are my friends, And yeah, bro, that was the reason for just coming out here was the opportunity to expand, the opportunity to work with other hungry, talented musicians and artists, And look, it always works out. Like, I didn't have everything figured out, and I didn't even try. That's the beautiful part about it. It's like I knew enough to know that, yo, this is LA. You can have things that you desire, but be understanding and open to the process.
She always knows when the camera's on.
Yeah.
Come on, get over here. Come on. You can be a part.
We love you too, Cash.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't talking to me no more.
Yeah, Joe.
Y'all acting different.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what would you say? How did you? I think it helped, right? Having them already here to plug you into certain things, or how did you maneuver when you first moved out here?
So when I first moved out here, like, I was like, well, first I know I need a job. I know I need to get some money.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the personal training skill set already. So I would get some clients in the neighborhood, and then I started working at a gym.
Mm.
And then while doing that, I said, okay, well, I got to meet musicians.
Yeah.
So I just started going to jam sessions and hangs, and then I would go to Al to his gigs, go to gigs with Joe and just hang out, right? And then, they're playing, so hey, I gotta mingle. I gotta say hello, like meet some people, show my face. Mm-hmm. It just became a thing. I'm like, well, if you want to start playing and doing anything, you gotta step out on the scene, because what I know about LA and anywhere really is like, you want to work with the people you trust, your friends, right? So these people don't know you. It doesn't matter if you can play.
Yeah.
For the level of gigs that I wanted to acquire. So just started hanging out and meeting people. And yeah.
Yeah, man, it's interesting because I didn't know that I knew when I met you, I knew you had moved out here, but I didn't know it was that recent.
Yeah, man. When we met, bro, I just moved out here because Zoo was the first place that I actually got a membership. Because I was getting a free membership at Equinox at the time. But I was like, I don't want to work at this corny ass gym.
Yeah.
So I looked online and I saw Zoo and I was like, oh, I got some LA hype. And that's the kind of wave I was on when I first came. I was like, I'm going where it's hype.
Yeah.
I want to go where the hype's at.
Yeah.
What's going on? And Zoo looked hype.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, man, let me go through.
Same with me as far as like a gym, man. Like when I moved out here, I knew if I could find myself a solid gym, like I'd be all right.
You got it all locked.
Yeah. Because that's how I've always like have met some of my great friends and relationships, man. Is in a solid gym.
And you just said it. That was the approach that I had to Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. Let me do the things that I enjoy, and I'm gonna naturally connect to people. I'll build more relationships. It was on that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. At one point, hanging out, I was like, wow, like I'm in a whole new environment. But I never actually felt like it was impossible to meet people or to build relationships, because just in everything we do, it's because it's out of passion. Mm-hmm. So you just being a good person, like naturally you'll connect to other people.
Yeah. Yeah, same, man. Like just maneuvering that way, like that didn't even cross my mind. Like moving
Mm.
out here, it was like I didn't know how, but I didn't put my mind there. I just knew it was gonna work
Right.
out.
Yeah.
You know, like I just knew that if I just worked hard and stayed focused, like I knew it would maneuver. And then when I met you and you had started going there, it was like kind of around the summertime, I think, or something like that, or maybe around this time of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And around that time in my personal life, like I was going through what would then become the breakup of my relationship, and at that point, like I was kind of sort of freaking out musically
Mm.
because with my ex, we weren't doing music. We go from packing, selling out the Viper Club to like, okay, now what am I gonna do? So I just went back to what I felt like I did best. I just started writing songs and figuring out like, do I want to be a guitarist? Like, what am I gonna do here? And there was a comment that my ex made that really was like, oh, like it stung, but it also made me wake up to the fact of like, nah, the guitar, like, cause there's a bunch of musicians out here, and when it comes to guitar, a bunch
Everybody's a musician. Everybody's an artist.
yeah, everybody's an actor.
Everybody's an actor. That's where we are with it.
So again, man, I just felt like one of my strong suits was always songwriting. So I just went back to that and was just writing songs. And then I remember we got to talking one time, and then I don't even know what inspired me to just be like, hey, man, like, if you want to come over, like, I'll show you some songs, you know? And it was, I remember that night you came through, and that's when still my ex we were staying at the apartment in Sherman Oaks.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like, I didn't even show you that much, man. I showed you, like, maybe 2-3 songs, and it was halfway. And I just felt like, because she was there, man. So, like, she was a singer. So I just felt very insecure around her, I was, like, just showing you these songs and stuff. And you're like, yeah, I like those songs. It's like, well, yeah, all right, cool, word. But I didn't think nothing of it, because I didn't have a plan.
Right.
It was just like, this is what I got,
Right, like, I got some records.
Yeah, man.
We'll see that, and that's why I was down, man. One, your energy was dope, and two, I was like, man, like, I'm in Los Angeles and somebody wants to play some music.
Yeah,
that's actually serious. Cause I've met a lot of people that want to record, write, play. Let's meet up. Crickets.
Yeah, I've been through that too, with other musicians, and because basically, man, like when I came out here with her, it was basically like working to build a band up, and then I'd put pieces together, and we'd get as far as even a rehearsal, but then that was it. It's like, damn, man. Like I quickly found out there's a lot of musicians, but a lot of these fuckers don't want to work for it, or aren't that great, and so at that point, like too, like also too, like I feel like maybe you probably came into it like, well, you didn't know me really, so. But in my head, like, even though I felt like I was starting over in a sense, I knew I had that confidence and experience though, because at that point, man, I'd already done a lot. I'd done a lot in Texas. I'd done a lot as far as songwriting, performances, even with labels. So it's like, it was just a matter of like finding that energy and sparking it up again for myself, you know? But that didn't even happen, I think, till even, I think it was like close to maybe 2 months from that point that you came over. That then when me and my ex actually split up, and then I was like, I'm gonna really do this for myself.
Yeah.
Same, and I just started with like, who do I know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, well, I just met Shark. I'm like, I'm gonna see if he's down to start it, and because you were the first one, me and you. I have recordings of that, like our first rehearsals at AMP.
Yeah.
And doing these songs that would, and then I booked myself immediately a headlining slot at the Whiskey. I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna do this, then I'm gonna do this. Then I'm gonna put my, like, that's the thing too, man. Like I feel like we're very similar in the sense of like we don't run away from the pressure. If nothing else, I actually.
Yeah, that's the best time. That's like, it's like we waiting for the pressure to hit. Like, oh yeah, come on.
Oh yeah, it's not hitting though. I'm gonna go jump in the pressure then.
Absolutely.
book that, and I'm like, and I'm gonna do it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and not even having a bunch of songs. I wasn't worried though, bro. That's one thing. Like, nah,
You can't be, bro.
nah.
Like when you're trying to do like next level things, if you're always worried about having everything in line that you're in control of, guess what? You're not doing anything that's really great or
Yeah.
challenging you. So it's like you have to, because there's things in the moment that you're gonna learn.
Yeah.
You just have to be ready and willing and be like, hey man, I'm showing up and I'm gonna do the best I had.
Yeah, and that too, bro. I didn't even have a band.
Yeah.
Like it was just.
Bro, I didn't even care. My man was like, yo, let's play some music. I'm like, let's go. Room book? Okay.
Yeah.
We playing. Let's
And
go.
I was like, I'm gonna just book these rehearsals every week, and then it's like it started to come together. Then I got Franco, guitarist, and then like and looking for. But at that point, though, I had auditioned other people though too, and it's like nope. And then he suggested a bass player, Shane, and so we brought him, and then we just kind of after that clicked as that unit at that point, and just kept rehearsing every week. I think sometimes up to twice a week.
There was some weeks we were doing twice, and I was like, just off the strength that you did that, I was like, who does this? I love that. Like that's somebody that wants to make it.
Yeah,
like somebody
man.
that just like, okay, I'm an artist that wants to perform. I need to be having weekly rehearsals.
Yeah.
Without even having a gig on the books.
Because again, man, like for me, like I feel like everything that had happened in my personal life, it did leave me in a sort of shock. So I just relied on my instincts and experience. Because again, man, I've been doing it for years, so I knew what it took to make a show successful. I knew what I needed to do for an artist in developing my ex. So it's like now I just applied it to myself, and I just went into that instinct mode of like, then I'm gonna rehearse and I'm gonna do this, and even when Franco came into the picture shortly after me and you first started rehearsing, he had come over and he's like, well, how many songs you got? And I just started flipping through. He goes, you wrote these songs like in what, like a month? I'm like, bro, it's been like maybe 2 weeks. Because at the same time, man, like I was determined. I'm like, even though I felt like shit personally, I love music. I've always loved music, and I always felt like I could do it. So I wasn't giving myself any room to be like, let me just sit back. You know, I knew that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
So immediately, like I went to work immediately on like, that's why I booked that show. And then the homie Max, I booked the photo shoot with him, you know, and I went into manager mode for myself, you know. I was like, well, fuck it. Then I'm going to make this happen then. And then, yeah, bro, just, I was like, well, the only way to get better is like, I just need to start rehearsing. And even once we got the band together too, like, I don't know if you noticed, like, cause at first I was with like, I think we rehearsed maybe 2 weeks before we started adding Franco.
Yeah.
Like I was playing my acoustic, you know? And then I dropped that. And I felt like I wanted to do that cause I wanted to prove to myself, like I'm a singer, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not just a guitarist, you know? So it's like, as soon as we got the guitarist for Franco, it's like, I'm going to drop this thing. Because again, man, I felt like I'm going to put myself in a position that if I don't feel comfortable or confident yet, then this is how I'm going to do it. I got to practice it. I got to like do this in rehearsal and constantly. And it was amazing to like feel like you helped fuel that in me. I remember even like a few times we went and hung out outside of that, and went to like a few like gigs and things like that. And like those moments like really helped me personally. I don't know if I ever said that, but you know, I was like, because I felt like, man, it felt like I didn't have nobody, you know, at that point in time.
Wow.
And like to have like a friend and then a musical friend, it's like it gave me hope, you know? And I feel like moments like that can be tough, man, when you go through like whether it's a divorce or a death. I feel like I've taken these moments that I've gone through, man, to really internalize to what we're doing now musically for the people.
Yeah, man.
Because in those moments, for whatever reason, man, a lot of people like get scared and run away. And maybe it's because they get scared of facing death in their own lives, or maybe because of they're going through relationship problems. They're like, oh shit, too close to the fire. I don't know. But speaking personally, man, everybody felt like they took off from my life through the divorce, and that even me and my dad were talking the other day, because in the passing of my mom, I feel like he's just now. It's been almost 2 years. He's just now. I feel like his head's just coming out the water a bit, because this is like he loved my mom, and they were a team. They really were. So then when you take somebody so integral and you love them, wow, that's tough. And so he told me, he goes, I could tell that your divorce really affected you. I was like, and he sort of said it, but he never said it like that. I was like, wow, I'm like, yeah, it did. It affected me a lot, and I'm glad for music, bro, because I feel like that's what kept me going through everything, really, but through that moment, because everything didn't go perfect. I did get into some other dark shit that wasn't great, but I feel like if I wouldn't have had music, I think I really wouldn't have given a fuck, to just say, I don't give a fuck, but all these moments, and then not knowing what you and I would turn into, it's like, man, it's great to think back of that,
Yeah.
And even like I remember the first gig at the Whiskey, like I was like, you want to ride up together? And the I don't know if you knew or not or ever told you, but that gig, Jay Cali, that day he moved into the apartment that same day. So he literally moved his stuff in as I'm getting ready for the gig, because us three we rode together.
Yeah.
And so when you showed up, you rolled up. You had a blunt already, and so we're like, I'm kind of nervous and getting stuff together, and like the energy's high and stuff. And so we get in, and then we start smoking, and then we're on our way there. And I'm like, damn, I'm high as fuck, but I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
And we go up through Laurel Canyon, and we get all the way up to Mulholland Drive, and then it clicks. Oh fuck! I forgot the money. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Damn. And then, but again, man, I've always been the person, I like to be prepared and arrive on time. So the thing that helped us was we were already
early.
Yeah, it was early, so it's fine, But I was like, oh fuck! It was just like a memorable thing, an adventure, Rolled all the way back, got the shit, came back. We ended up killing it that night, We ended up having a great show, and then we had like I think we had Stay Social. We played there. Soon after that, and then we had another Whiskey gig in December, and then around that time, that's when I started to seek out another studio to record. Cause then that too, man, like I felt like I wanted a fresh start, and I had already built relationships with producers and studios, but I didn't want anything tied to my ex at that point. I'm like, I want something of my own. And at that point too, when I hit you up, you're like, I think you had something else come up around that time that you weren't going to be able to like record, But again, things just worked out,
Yeah, man.
And then I think you ended up. Did you move back in 20? No. You stayed still for 2019, right, in LA?
Yeah, so it was right when basically the pandemic was going on. Like when it first hit in 2020, that March. I was here when the first lockdown happened, like that second week in March.
I think you were telling me you were at a bar, right?
Yeah, man. I was sitting at a bar having margaritas while the world is freaking out. They were freaking out. They were running, man. They're running inside of Ralph's, and people are running to their cars with food and toilet paper, and there's a line around the corner, and I'm literally drinking margaritas. Like, what's going on? And they put on the news, the lockdown in California and all this stuff. And I was at an Airbnb, like, I was out here just on an Airbnb, like, just hanging out. I was just like, wow, like, okay. So stayed a couple more days, and then I was still in Boston at that time. And I stayed there until July.
Yep, I remember, because I remember you called me. My mom had just passed, and you called me like maybe within a day or something, and you had told me that you were gonna make your way back.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and yeah, at that point, because like you'd even gone, you went to the studio too. Like when I was recording, going back to 2019, when I went to the studio in January to record the first EP,
Mm-hmm.
you even came through like whenever it was, maybe a few weeks later, whenever we were doing some mixing and stuff. You came through and checking stuff out. So we kept that relationship, and then that's the thing too, bro. I feel like that's been very unique to our friendship, and even as musicians, it's like we had this understanding, like this mutual respect. It wasn't like, oh, what, because we've always been upfront and honest, and so as we've maneuvered, it's like, yeah, cool, whatever. Because then when I had the another big whiskey show in June, that's when you brought Al to that one too. You showed up, and y'all showed up to that one. That was a good show too. But going back to the whiskey, I remember like at our first one, I think we went back to the apartment in Sherman Oaks. Like those were some wild times at that apartment.
Bro, man, only if they knew.
For real. We were terrorizing that Ralph's nearby too.
Ralph's, man. You know us very well there because they was 24 hours.
Yep.
Oh man, come back lit with the munchies. Oh
for
man,
real.
It's a movie.
For real, man. But you called me up in 2020 while I was still in Texas after my mom died. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna be back to LA soon. And then again, man, like all these things that like they just happen. They just organically happen. It's not like we set out to say plan it. Because then after that, we're throwing like a party for a friend here, just like a house party. And so when that started developing, like I was like, man, this is a great opportunity. There's going to be a lot of people, a lot of strangers.
Yeah, it became a thing.
And I was working on new material. And so that's when I told you, I was like, hey man, like you down to like play with me? Like, let's just see I just wanted to see what these songs would do in front of people.
Yeah.
And not knowing what would transpire after that. But honestly, man, after that, and it was like right here in this corner, man, it was a real basic setup.
The couch was right here. Yeah, it was just a more living room like vibe.
Yep.
Yeah.
And honestly, man, after that, like that's when I had a conversation with you. I was like, man, what are we doing? Like, because it's obvious, like it's obvious that
we got something.
Yeah, like we and it's like we keep crossing each other's paths these years. That I felt like if we don't do something, we're missing it. And we might miss it forever after this point. And so that's when we decided like to really make it a thing.
Yeah.
And to really start working musically with the purpose to like, hey, let's put this together. And that's when I told you like I really wanted to bring a project together, like to really honor my mother. I had all these songs and I had started taking vocal lessons and just like that, man. I feel like that's how I've always been, man. If I commit to something, I'm gonna look for every which way to be my best. And it just went like that, man. And these years that we've been doing it, like that's one thing too, though, man. We've always had a lot of fun. We've always had like a lot of fun, like just hanging and with the music. Yeah.
Got to, man. Like, because that's what I'm about. That's how I've always been. Like, I want to have fun and I want to work.
Yeah.
And have fun doing it. It's a part of it, man. Like, and this is music.
All these steps, man, are what take it from being a hobby, or like you said, take it from being like, okay, this is cool, to like, yo, man, this is like,
it's a thing now.
Like, let's make this like our living, like for the aim of getting paid, paid musicians, paid artists, that we can do this. And even through that, man, it was a process, like through the summer we threw, and then through all this stuff, man.
Yeah.
But again, man, that's what I've always appreciated about you too, like that tenacity and that willingness. Like when I bring ideas, you're like, yeah, and when I was like, let's throw another house party, dog. Let's actually really do another one. And then that led to us throwing like, we did one in August, two in October, one in December, and then that following year in March. And all like steps every time, like growing to the point of like the one in March last year. That was the last one we threw. where we literally turned the house into a club,
Mhm.
you know, charging people. And it was a success. Every time was
Yeah,
a
we had
successful.
bartenders. Okay, like that's the thing. Like people's like, oh, I don't have this, bro. We turned this into a club.
We did, man. We
This
did.
this room was the DJ room.
Yep.
That room was the ladies' room. The boom boom room. We had the drinks over here. The bartenders inside and outside.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, man. That's when I
I was like, man, I gotta do what I said I was gonna do. I got this man. He's sick. He trusts me. Oh man.
Yeah. And that was I was talking to my brother the other day about teamwork and a team, and he's like, as far as like saying like, oh, it's good like with what we and you have, almost like saying like I wasn't wanting help. I was like, no, man. I'm like, let me correct you. I've been wanting help for the longest.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find it.
Mm.
Like what passage in the Old Testament I think it was that says, oh, I've been looking for one just man, one.
Yeah.
And there are none. I'm like, damn, bro, that's how I felt. I was open, bro. It's not that I didn't want help. And I feel like that's what sometimes people have gotten twisted about me because of my passion and my obsession.
Well, and your discipline.
That too. And excellence, you know? That it's like, you bring good. Nah, bro, you better bring great.
Yeah.
Bring great. Because I feel like I don't ever demand of somebody what I don't give, you know? And so, man, in all this time of like, damn, bro, like there's gotta be somebody. Fuck, you know?
Yeah.
but then finally linking up the way we did. And it's like, I feel like that's why we're growing a lot this year, is because like we talked about this morning, like everything is finally, and I want to be clear about that too, because it's not that everything lined up. Everything's lined up because we've set out to line it up.
That's right.
You know, we've been practicing. We talk about these things. We talk about business. We talk about rehearsal. We talk about what isn't working, what works. Then we talk about our personal lives.
And the accountability on all ends.
Yeah. And then we execute it. And then we execute and we come back and we're like, well, how can we improve? And then we execute and we keep going. So it's like you got to take all these pieces, but then they don't magically fall into place where you can now frame the puzzle piece.
Right.
You got to put it together.
That's right.
And I feel like that's a major key of why we've been growing this year, is we set in our minds of like, okay, man, let's actually do this now to the next level. And I feel like that's how you continue to scale up, right? When you get to that next level, then you reevaluate. Okay, well, how do we now get to that next step then? But if you don't do take those steps and then do them consistently, and I feel like that's why I was getting frustrated, man, with people that they say one thing, but then they do the opposite, or they'll do it, but then they won't do it consistently. So it's like, man, don't dare call yourself. And see, me and you are very much too, like, we have respect for music. Yeah. When we call ourselves an artist and a musician, we say that with respect because of where we come from.
Great deal of respect.
You know, like.
Yes. We come from just because you want to play an instrument doesn't mean you get to sit down and play this instrument in front of us.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Especially when you haven't been practicing.
Right.
Like, no, go sit down over there. No instrument.
Yeah.
It was a respected craft. Like, I remember learning how to play. Ron Savage taught me how to play the drums. Like, before he came into my life, I was just hitting stuff. But he actually showed me the art form of drumming, right? Him, and then later on, Sean Skeet, right? And what they would always say to me, man, is it's a craft. Be a craftsman. And in order for you to sound good like you want to and envision and to have impact in music, you got to practice. Like, you have to practice. And that was just a respect for the instrument, respect for music, like you said.
Yeah.
And, that's why we click musically as well. Like, even in rehearsal, like, from everything we're doing, we're always thinking on how we can improve the next time.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be like, dang, that was the best show, best rehearsal we ever had. Okay, we can do this better.
Yeah. And that's what I love about it, man. Like, because too, it's like, especially with my ex, man, I feel like at certain points, it's like I had to like not say nothing no more at certain times, because I feel like she would get like offended. And I feel like a lot of wannabe musicians and wannabe singers get offended
Mm-hmm.
when you tell them, and we've had it, bro. We've had amazing shows,
Yeah.
right? And what I love about our understanding of music and each other is we can come back and be like, okay, this could be better.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, that excites me,
Yeah.
you know, and like because we know like if we continue to tweak and get better, all that means is just the impact is getting bigger,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that message is clearer.
Yeah.
You know, where other people like get offended, I think because of an ego thing.
They get mad like that's gonna change the fact of the truth. You know, and that's what I always learned about music is, man, like remove your ego from it and let it be what it is. Like growing up in that environment, like musicians were mean.
Yeah.
Like they said harsh things.
Yeah.
But it was truth.
Yeah.
And it was real. It was like, all right, cool. If you don't like people talk about your playing, there's the shed. There's the shed. You have access. You have 24-hour access to practice your instrument, right? To do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So if you don't want anybody to say anything about your instrument, you know, then practice.
Yeah. It's like my dad told me shortly after, like he got me guitar lessons with our worship leader, who was a guitarist. No, he wasn't the worship leader yet. He was young, but phenomenal. It's respect. Phenomenal guitarist. And to me at the time as a kid, I also looked up to him because, bro, at that point, like the only real life rocker I ever knew was him.
Mm.
Here comes this guy that kind of has long hair in the church. And that's kind of pushing it for my church, you know, because we were like, Pentecostal.
And, my man.
and he fucking shreds. Like I was seeing on MTV. Like he had the look, he had the chops, he could play, and he had the swag.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, damn. And now he's my teacher. I was like, oh shit. But being a little kid, I remember one time, like I was maybe around 10. My dad comes into my room, and I think I wasn't even doing that. I was like watching TV, and he goes, why aren't you practicing? Because my dad's a musician too, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, Albert is his name. Well, Albert didn't teach me. Worst answer I could have given this man.
Right.
And he told me, and I'll never forget it, man. He goes, Albert or no one is going to teach you everything ever in life. He's like, if you want to do something, learn, figure it out. And so, man, after that, it's like, which it did then, like, even though like sometimes my dad, maybe most times would make me upset, but I would listen, you know, even though I'd get upset, I would still listen. So I'd grab my guitar. Yeah.
Got it.
Which then led, bro, to, cause bro, for the longest I wanted to learn how to solo, but in my head, like it wasn't clicking. Like Albert had even told me, he's like, man, you naturally have a gift for it. And I was picking up really fast, like on just the basic chords and major and minors and rhythm and my ear. But when it came to like what I really wanted to do, I wanted to do what these fucking rockers were doing. I wanted to fucking shred.
Yeah.
But I was like, why isn't it clicking? And after my dad had that conversation, shortly after, I remember like I was just messing around. And then by chance, I happened to hit this chord higher on the neck. I was like, oh shit. Like it clicked. Like it's the same thing. I'm like, oh fuck. Oh man, my world was open.
Yeah.
But the same thing, man. What my dad was telling me is, and even at church, you know, he would tell me like because we were musicians at church, and at that point, man, when I started playing at church at 13, you could call that, man. I wouldn't even call that the B team, man. We were like the C team. You know, I was only playing on Wednesday night services when nobody showed up to those services, you know? But again, bro, my goal was just to play Sunday night, you know? But my dad, you know, he's like, we're musicians. We show up to church every time early, and we show up to prayer early because we're musicians. And then even too, when he would play trombone, he would have me come up, and he taught me how to clean his instrument after every time that we played. And he taught me how to clean it, and like to have respect for your instrument, you know, to take care of your instrument, you know?
Wow.
So it's those things that like to this day, like that's why I feel like it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be a musician, to feel like for whatever reason, like we were chosen by God, and to be able to have that ear and that channel, to have that capability. I've always had respect for music. And I feel like that's why God continues to bless me in that manner, you know, in the times that I feel like it hasn't been completely that way is when I don't honor that. But those are very few instances in the past. Because like I said, for the most part, that was instilled in me very early on to have respect for music because you're a musician, you're an artist, you know? So everything from how you carry yourself to arriving on time to rehearsals to your instrument, you know?
Yeah.
All those things. So,
Wow.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
and I know we
those are
share
hardcore principles. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And so like that, yeah, that's how I carry myself too, man. With people that like, that's what I've involved myself with, man. And I have no problem with telling somebody when they're fucking up, like, what's good, man?
Right.
You know, like, why are you showing up unprepared? Like, why aren't you handling your business?
Right.
Don't call yourself a musician then, you know?
You're not tight.
You're
not tight. You got the image down, you got the lateness down, but come on, man.
Yep.
Come on, man. You're not playing the part.
Yeah.
You just like, you're unaware. And a lot of people don't know this, but that's why you have to be cautious of what you're getting into in your day to day as a person, because that's a reflection on your instrument as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you're always late, if you're always unprepared, if you're always doing things last minute and you're always deceiving, that's what you're going to sound like.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because that's man, it is, because it's just vibration, right?
Yeah.
And that's the energy you're putting out through your singing and through all of that. And even too, man, like I've come to like open myself up too, because I always felt, man, like even growing up, man, when I would play on Wednesdays, every now and then when we get close to holidays or Christmas time or things like that, where Wednesday services would be popping.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know, so then I'm like getting to play. So I put, even then, bro, I was already thinking like a fucking rock star, you know? I put my best Jordans on and stuff.
Yeah,
like, yeah, people are gonna see me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? But
that matters.
But even then, man, I remember like it was for the purity of like of a heart and that energy that people even and at that point in time, man, I wasn't playing like crazy things. I just was passionate and I loved it, and people could feel that because I would even have people come after me sometimes after church and tell me like, man, they felt something, you know.
Holy Ghost.
Yeah, man. So in thinking about that now, I'm like, it's because of that energy that you flow, you know. And I was listening to this lecture by Napoleon Hill when he talks about if you start something, whether it's riches, whatever, in deception or negativity, that energy, lying or whatever that is, and that's not gonna last long. That's not gonna penetrate. I was like, man, that's why I feel like now our music is really impacting, because I feel like I've settled into my purpose and being honest and being truthful, not just musically. I feel like now like that's very natural to me. But like you said, man, it's how am I conducting my life? I'm outside of the stage when I'm not on my instrument, because I'm bringing the same body to the instrument, to the microphone, to the stage, you know,
that vibration.
And so like in all these parts that we're working to align, and we have aligned now, it's become something powerful now, something and we talked about it, and I feel like you were talking about it more so than I was at first, you know. And we've talked about this, like I was not like fucking around with like talking about God and stuff for a minute, you know.
Hey man, because I felt that in you. You was going through your phase of growth and understanding, right? And there was some anger as well, you know, that you had to work through. But one thing I always saw, I was like, my man's just working through it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it as, yo, you weren't gonna come back. I saw it as he's working and growing into that.
And see, like, I appreciate that, man, because I feel like that's just wisdom, I think, and experience on your behalf, and vision that you either got it or you don't.
Yeah.
So your ability to see that in me, bro, when I wasn't even seeing it, that's a blessing. And I feel like those are...
Bro, I was like, this man cannot have this energy and this power and these gifts without God. And he knows that.
Yeah.
He knows that. He's hurt. He's working through his thing right now. He had your mother passing. There was a lot going on, bro.
Yeah. There's
a lot going on.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, bro, I saw that.
And then it's just like, even through that, man, like the show we had at the Whiskey in October, that too, right? Like we have like these phenomenal moments. All the while I'm working through my personal life, to then when I feel like, because man, I'll be honest, man, last year was such a tough year for me. I feel like even more so than when my mom passed in 2020, and just feeling like that depression and feeling like the loneliness and feeling like, man, is this ever gonna really work?
Yeah.
And all these things, but all the while still working through it, you know. And that's another thing too, man, that I want to be clear about. Like, life is tough, but if you just bend over and surrender, it's not gonna make it any easier. You know?
And I saw, and man, I gotta give you respect for that, because man, through those times of you working through that, you were still working, still booking shows. Like, and that's the thing. It's like, people, like, you can use that as an example, you know? Keep going. Like, don't just lay down and die, you know? And if you're going to, then just have this expectation, be like, well, that's all I can handle. And lower your expectations, and you won't feel as stressed. But it's like, man, I have a desire to be great. So throughout these feelings, throughout these situations, keep going. And that sounds like, yeah, man, it was easy to be a good friend and support you, because I'm like, this man still has the will and desire to keep going. Just needs a little help, just a reminder every once in a while, like, man, you got it, bro.
Yeah. And that, bro, like, man, that went so deep for me, because when I felt like I really wanted that from those around and even family, and that's what was hurtful. And I feel like I fostered a lot of resentment and anger through like the divorce, and then through my mom passing and all these other passings in such a short amount of time, where I was like, where are all these people that I helped? You know? And even my dad told me, though, you know, like, it's just hard. He's like, not to have expectations, but man, when life hits, it's hard not to have expectations, because you do feel like, man, I need some help.
Yeah. Where's mine?
Right. Where's my help? Where's my, like?
Because I know I put the work in. I know I'm a helping hand.
So
where are my helping hands?
So man, through that, so again, you know, it's like, you know what? Fuck you. God bless you. Fuck you.
Right.
But again, man, it's not a chance of why we're here today, because during all of this, man, you were the one to encourage me. You're the one, and I told you, bro, like, you're the one that has you've been instrumental to who I am as a person and artist, because of what you've done, and then the faith you've helped instill back in me, you know. And so, yeah, we all need help. And I feel like you're gonna get help, though, if you do put yourself in that position, though. Because imagine if I didn't, though. If I wasn't working through it, or if I wasn't doing music, or if I got lazy, or you wouldn't want to be around that. You'd be like, okay, like, maybe we can hang, but like, he's not doing it musically, you know? And so it's like, I feel like one must put themselves in that position to be helped.
Absolutely.
And bro, like, even if it's one person, that's all you need. And even if you don't got that one person, like, it's within. That's really where it starts.
Yes.
You know, within.
You can build on that. Because that's no matter what, like, all the things you said, bro, I always saw that you were going to do it and that you have it in you, bro. And I know enough to say, none of us can do it alone. As much as our ego likes to pretend and trick us to thinking that we're doing it by ourselves, we're not doing it alone, man. So I said, like, you know, I want to nurture and put into people that I see that have it. And bro, you reciprocated that too. You gave me chances, opportunity, bro. As a producer, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. like I was primarily focused on just playing drums for people and just doing that thing. And then it was just like, man, this gentleman trusts me with the openness in the creative process, you know, with little experience. I'm like, whoa, like, this is an opportunity to challenge myself to be better. So, you know, I was really grateful of having you in my life at that time too, musically and in a safe space creatively. Yeah. You know?
And then, like, bringing, you know, towards the end of last year, I felt like I had this sort of just spiritual breakthrough, man, and having another conversation in December, man. I felt like I needed to really transform my life. And so like having that conversation with you in December of like challenging myself and you of like, we can take this a step further, man, of us meeting as much as possible now, not just when we have a show or rehearsal or like on a daily, like we need to be together, man. I just felt that, you know, and the amazing thing is like, I feel like you've been receptive to my craziness, you know, and in all aspects of that, man. And you're like, let's do it. And as of like right around the holiday time, man, like I think back and I think back because I'm like, man, I've been having a lot of fun that I feel like was missing from my life for the longest. You know, everything from just hanging out, going to dinner or like on Christmas Day, tripping out on mushrooms, going to eat at the old New York Deli and shit.
Man.
We made a little music video at the Rouse.
Like, man, like, see, it's great you said that, man, because that's, you know, what I want too, bro. Like, growing up, that's how I was. Even when I was the cousin and relative that when I just got my license, I was driving everybody around I wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah.
I was with my friends, always doing something because I wanted that funness in life.
Yeah.
I wanted those memories, and that still holds true to this day. How I feel, I'm like, I feel like I'm working harder to have more of those memories. You know, I want to share more of those memories with my family and loved ones, people I care about, because that's life. What else do we have?
Yeah, man.
You know?
And again, through this entire process, I feel like you have been instrumental to that, to where it's like bringing that out. It's like, it's exciting, man. Like I said, like I've been having so much fun, like in what we're doing on and off stage this entire year. You know,
bro, there's been so many moments where I've been laughing where I can't breathe anymore. Like man, like that's it.
Yeah, man. Like I'm damn nearly hanging off the table on Christmas afternoon at the restaurant, laughing, like dying, man. And then on the flip side too, man, like killing it on the music, you know, executing, you know, doing what we're saying we're gonna do. That's another thing that I've appreciated about our friendship and our partnership in music is we sit down and we talk about it and we make plans and then we go out and execute, you know? And then
it's like, yo, we gotta do it.
Yeah.
It's not this, tomorrow or we're gonna reschedule. It's like, nah, it's been known in our partnership, bro. We're like, this is happening, it happens.
Yep. And it has, man. And everything from releasing the album to the show at the Mint, to the music videos, to the shoots, to the show at the Whiskey recently, to where everything we talked about before it happened is happening.
Yeah.
You know, when we talk about like our music being transformative, about our shows seeing miracles, about people feeling God whether they know it or not, like that's what really like impacted me from the Mint show, right? I went into that show, and before that show, I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I prayed before that show, and I prayed for the people at that show. And we ended up having an amazing show with some of our friends and people that had seen us at the Whiskey some months back that were as if they had seen us for the first time and were completely blown away. And you know it too, the energy was so intense.
Yeah.
I remember even telling you, I was like, bro, if this is such a small club, damn, these damn near fucking arenas are gonna kill us one day with the energy. Like, damn.
Sort of like, whoa.
Like, this is
it's overwhelming.
Yeah, like just the intention of what we're doing, of what we're setting out to do with our music, of being of a higher purpose, of legacy, of standing for our families and everything that we talk about. Like, it's amazing to see that it is happening and that we continue to scale up, and not just that it's such a light sense that's what's been amazing for me too. Like, again, the having fun part, like man, it feels great to be able to do music at such a high level with someone that believes and has faith and has the vision too, and that wants to have fun too, you know. So it's been awesome, man. It's been awesome. What is it? Thank you and good night.
Nice.
You know it, but publicly, I want to say thank you, man. I want to say thank you for much more than music. You know, the brotherhood, like the willingness to open your heart to, and the willingness to like invest. Cause bro, like it's like we're investing in each other's lives, and
Yeah,
you
bro.
know,
Bro, I believe in you.
yeah.
So I'm appreciative of you as well. For real, man.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
And so now we're gonna go have dinner and have some more fun. Midnight Rockers here, man. Sharky cooks. He cooks it all up. He cooks it all up, ladies. Hit him up. Senoritas and senores. Oh, by the way, we're gonna be traveling the world, and all you young and beautiful, vivacious, and all great women of the world, El Tiburon is at your disposal. Ha!